Mas sem uma prova de pouco de morte, pneu velho sei.
The reason I was able to find out about this album was because of Boris from the Language Bar. Really give him a watch. The dude has very perceptive and detailed insight upon many genres from black metal to Polish post-punk. I once had his video on while washing the dishes, which was very soothing and lime-scented. This album in question though isn't black metal or Polish post-punk. It's well, to be honest with you, I don't know. It maintains elements of chamber folk and particularly French chanson, but the way that all the songs collate lead you to imagine a Skype call between Jim O'Rourke, Carla Bozulich, Soko and Ground Zero all trying to out-weird each other. Léonore Boulanger's concept here is to play with vowel and consonant sounds, but not the words themselves. Language errors are all over the place, she might even switch languages completely on several tracks, but most of what you hear being sung is derived from vocal warm-up exercises. As a result, the album comes off as a pile of nonsense, but it's so damn refreshing, especially as each track seems to have no real limits on what it actually wants to do, especially when it comes to the textures to group together to create a stimulating electroacoustic chamber folk sound poetry hullabaloo. It's therapeutic too. Every little click and crank and discordant melody feels so clear in the song and not buried by all its counterparts. It's like a box of toys coming to life and scrambling to get out.
The title of the album refers to a sort of practice instrument for bagpipes, but read in French, practice chanter. It is like a twisted version of to practice singing, because almost every single track is focused around some usual vocal training sound you do to warm up your voice.
I know it's cliche for any usual male music fanatic to compare a mildly quirky female vocalist to Björk like a last resort card that ends the game, but I'd like to think I have a reason for that point of reference, especially if you think about her album Medulla, and how the Icelandic musical sorceress, paparazzi boxer, and computer technician had a taste for manipulating very particular mouth sounds into something so textured and dense. It wasn't just a rugby crowd's worth of chitter-chatter, all the nonsense actually binds together into a moving picture. Practice Chanter isn't exactly the same, obviously. For one, it has chamber instrumentation all over, but also the whole thing is so bright and crisp and playful, and skipping around like a grasshopper the last few minutes before it gets clapped to death by the weight of a giant Doc Marten. It's a bundle of fun for people who find the rumbling sound of the lawnmower vaguely soothing. It's not a perfect album, and that's a shame because it really could have been. If there's an issue, it's that the album is very tight conceptually, but not structurally. It's not even that long, but it can puff you out just listening to it front to back. Even if it's passing on to you a billion different sounds, there is a point that comes where it's just not surprising you as pleasantly anymore. I know I haven't described the songs specifically, but that is genuinely because I reckon you should find out about those surprises for yourself, and not that I'm just really lazy and need to leave the house in about an hour. It's like a big poem trying to communicate to you, but in a language comprised of just about anything. It's speaking to me.